and then we continue with each minutes.
Okay.
Like 20 minutes. But still, because I will not be looking at this, if I start, just show a second. Thank you. Bulgaria, currently working in the Sofia municipality, and until a month ago I was member of the Bulgarian parliament. Today I want to present you a workshop, a panel session about Erasmus network and the politics. Why they're not so different, why everyone here is doing politics in their everyday life, and why Erasmus Network as a youth organization should embrace and cooperate with the politics and not avoid them. I have spent my last 6 years being a volunteer in ESN. And one thing I noticed throughout all the international events, community meetings, gatherings, even national assemblies, is that everyone, for some reason, is afraid of their work politics, and there is the politics are taboo theme for some reason. So, let's begin. ESN, the politics, and the not so scary relationship between the two. Young people need political education. But yet there are countless studies, researches, statistics that show how the young people, the new generation, is uninterested, doesn't care. Allegedly, they're careless about the politics and what happens in their country. And given that, we have to ask the question, why? Why are the young people not interested? Why everyone is so afraid? To, to do that, we have to start from the beginning. What is actually politics? Why young people need them? And how we should tackle the problem. The thing is that it's not that easy. It's really hard to find some teenager or a young student interested in their latest tax reform, new law, or something. May I ask the audience who here knows what is the latest law reform in their home country? Please raise your hand. Uh, who here knows what is the latest or a recent tax reform or law reform in their home country? Okay. So you see, it's not easy to find a young person to be interested and who is actually interested or involved in the politics. Yet I'm here on the biggest student-led organization conference in Europe by people who are doing politics in their everyday life, in the Erasmus Student Network, without even realizing it. Sorry, without even realizing it. And let's begin with that. What are actually the politics? The politics are simple. It's what happens on your childhood street, what happens in your neighborhood, what happens in your city, what happens in your country, what happens in the world overall. Politics are the mysterious, magical thing that unites us all, and tries to implement the common rules we have to define what is fair, what is unfair, to define what we are allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do as a community, in this case, speaking as ESN. So, saying that, I'll skip a few slides. ESN is doing that, doing the politics, engaging the youth. Every day, doesn't matter if it's in your home country, home section, even if it's on an international level event, everything we do is politics. We are gathering to discuss ideas, to implement different rules we have, because the statutes of ESN International, your home country section, has rules. And we have agreed, commonly agreed, to follow them. And we have some kind of punishments in cases we do not follow them. And when I joined ESN Bulgaria 6 years ago now, I was a clueless student, not involved in politics at all, and not actively involved in anything, to be honest. I was just a random student going through a breakup, and a friend of mine was like, hey, let's go to ESN party. There are international students, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. Great, that's nice. And I started going to the party nightlife events of ESN International, ESN Bulgaria. And 2 weeks later, I was like, okay, maybe ESN is not only the parties. So I decided to actually become a member. And then 1 month later, with other members of the Bulgarian ESN Bulgaria, we were changing the status of ESN Bulgaria. It was that time it was ESN Renew, I think. So we had to change them, and that got me thinking. That gave me an idea. How can we actually show the world that young people need politics, and how we can ask for help the other generations, the older generations. And 6 years ago, an idea was born between me and other ESN members that we need support from the older generations, from the Bulgarian state, in the case of Bulgaria, and we need support, not regulations. So we need a law that protects us, that encourages our actions, but it's not limiting our actions. And that's how the idea for the volunteering law in Bulgaria became. So, little disclaimer. It was supposed to be legislated, the law, the volunteering law, today. The Bulgarian government was voted down last week. So we have a little bit of change about the presentation, but I'll tell you about the game. So 6 years ago, the idea was born, and we started going around a small group of 10 people, ESN Sofia University, going around different institutions to ask how we can get different grants, different funds, how we can get this support. Back then, we had no idea that this is gonna be a real law someday. So we started going around, nothing happened. Most of you maybe know how hard it is to actually find different support and funds for different ESN and volunteering events at all. And going around, we understood something. We have to embrace the politics I talked about in the beginning, because that's what everyone cares about. We should show how ESN, in this case, ESN is a rule maker in our society. Because we are the new generation where the volunteering culture is actually present. Because most of our parents, they don't understand what ESN is. They think it's just parties. And it's really hard to describe ESN to some of your friends, to your uncle, to your dad. It's really hard. But now, as ESN grew stronger and stronger outside of Europe, outside of European Union even, now the new generation is accepting, embracing the volunteering culture. And we need to be politicians so we can regulate and not regulate, support ourselves and not regulate and limit ourselves. And that's what happens in Bulgaria. We spent 3 years going around lobbying with different people, with different politicians, overcoming crises just so we can get a chance to be heard in the parliament to present this. It sounds magical, it did not happen like that, no one cared, no one listened, because it was all about the money, all about the power. Volunteering is not money and it's not power. And then we met the new generation of real politicians, people who knew what ESN actually is. And 2 years ago, we were invited, ESN Bulgaria was invited in the working group in the parliament to have a real discussion why we need this, why we want this. And one of our main topics, and even now in Europe, was engage the youth. Because we knew the European elections were coming, and this talk session is not about the European elections, was actually the break point to have the negotiations to start the work, was the engaging the youth. Because when the youth is engaged, not in the politics, but doing anything, clearing or organizing a charity event in your neighborhood, organizing sport event in your city, or something, what ESN is actually doing, we are engaging the youth and awakening interest. Because youth involvement in the country is great. And our generation, our Erasmus generation, must ensure there is a solid foundation for the next generations to actually start building upon. And as it said, the best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best is today. And that was the philosophy in ESN Bulgaria organization, because at some point we started 10, 12 people. Now the whole organization is involved in the law-making process of actually introducing and legislating the long-awaited volunteering law. Yeah. And saying that, more concrete things that happen is we managed to get through networking the power of our network, the power of ESN, to speak with different people, different politicians, and at some point, I even myself became a politician because I was so involved and intrigued in the process of actually making the rules we want to live in, making the environment we want to live in, shaping the future, because the future is now. It's really intriguing for me, and I became a member of the Bulgarian Socialist Party. And last year, I got the opportunity to be the member of the Bulgarian Parliament. And what happened there is I finally had the power to introduce and to start working for real on the on the law. And in the beginning, it was really difficult because what I see in the youth organizations across Europe, and especially in Bulgaria, young people are afraid of politics because they don't understand politics. But politics are not taxes. Politics are not the laws. Politics are not fancy suits and nice events and boring speeches. Politics is everything. ESN is politics. And politics is overcoming different problems. And every problem has a solution. And if it doesn't have a solution, then it's innovation. And ESN is exploring the unknown, especially in Europe, with all fields of ESN activity that are actually connected. And basically that's it. That's the main thing is I urge you to go back to your home country and to start to think how you can actually put ESN outside of ESN. Because ESN is great, it's helping, it's shaping, it's building the foundation for the next generations. And ESN is providing that needed political education about how young people should be involved, not only in Erasmus exchange, because ESN is one of the For example, I never went to an Erasmus exchange. I wanted to, but Mr. COVID killed me a lot in 2020. So, yeah, as I said 2 minutes ago, we were on the edge to actually have a volunteering flow in Bulgaria, which was supposed to require from the Bulgarian state to fund volunteering organizations. And there was a list of network, a volunteering network. ESN was there, and we managed to create a network of over 70 organizations to be supported by the state. So we can have our freedom and our power to do whatever we want, however we want, with the state back. But another thing happened, and the government was voted down, so now we don't have a government. And the actual law was voted, it was accepted, but the legislation takes a little bit too long, and we'll see what will happen. But for sure, ESN Bulgaria, and the next generation of ESN Bulgaria will not stop trying, will not stop fighting for this, because everyone here who was involved in organizing, who just involved in ESN, knows how hard it is to pursue, to be limited by your resources, by your environment, and how hard it is to achieve what you want when you're limited. So the politics should be in ESN, it should be there not to limit, but to support, to encourage, to be young, wild, free, as said, and yeah, just dream, just fight for what you want, do politics, continue to change Erasmus students' lives, continue to change your own life, be ready to change, and don't be afraid to talk about politics, especially in the environment of ESN, because we are all politicians and we are all doing